Wall Street Memes Casino
I'm fine.
and Sportsbook.
Andrew McCart, iFLTV, delighted as always to be joined by my big mate, Billy Nelson. Billy, I've seen you nearly every day the last 2 months, man. You sick of the sight of me yet?
I know, mate. I know. You're even up there. You're even following me up with Jim to spar. Fuck's sake, a little rash.
A rash that won't go away, I'm telling you. You did get a nice breakaway from me because you were in LA and then you were invited to the Congo. And I just want to go straight to it. Before we talk about LA and all that sort of stuff, because we have spoke about that, I think everyone's seen on social media the the parade, if you want to call it a parade. It was bigger than a parade for Martin when he landed in Kinshasa. I mean, you were there, Billy. You were invited over to the Congo. Just explain to me the pandemonium and what it was like for Martin out there.
Well, I knew it was going to be craziness as soon as we got off the plane. A minibus collected us at the bottom of the steps, took us into the VIP area in the airport, and it just went bonkers. I mean, everybody was wanting photographs of Martin, and then they got him in a motor, and it's I mean, there was thousands outside the airport, and it's many of them just followed us the full trip. They reckon there was over 400,000 people on the trip between the airport and the stadium where Muhammad Ali fought George Foreman. That's where Martin was doing a speech in front of thousands and thousands of people were there as well. But it was just, I mean, the army surrounded the motor, the police surrounded the motor, and Junior Macabo's own security team, and they still got to the motor because they're loving me. But I mean, they reckon he's the second most famous guy in, well-liked guy in the country behind the president.
And that's saying something, isn't it? Because I think a lot of people, I was getting it because obviously people know I know Martin, right? I just know him through you, obviously. But everyone was coming into the gym, everyone I was speaking to, as in my mates, were like, Andrew, did you see that homecoming for Martin? Did you see that homecoming? I went, mate, it was insane. It was almost like it was presidential. Does that make sense? Like that's something you'd get from a politician or somebody like that. It was just insane. Like you seen him at the sunroof and waving was belts. Do you think that with the sort of backing that Martin has back home in the Congo, and there is history when it was called Zaire back in 1970 something, whatever it was, with Muhammad Ali and George Foreman, that it's almost inevitable that we should get Martin Bakole having a fight in the Congo at some stage?
Well, it was spoken about in the meeting that we had with him. Not that I'm fluent in French by any manner of means, but it was spoke about, and the president has given him his full backing to stage a fight, possibly early stages of next year. It's something we spoke about with other people, and I'm not exactly what sure. Is it a production team from the TV company is going to go over there in the next couple of weeks to look at the stadiums, look at the infrastructure, etc., to see what's required to have a fight over there. A televised show over there.
The thing is, sometimes you need a dance partner to sell a fight, but it seems like almost Mark could fight me and sell out or fight somebody else, not even a name, just somebody. It doesn't matter who it is, because he seems like just a superstar that he could sell that arena out without a dance partner. Does that make sense?
Well, he probably couldn't in Congo without a shadow. Here, of course, he couldn't because, well, although his profile's getting bigger, thankfully, with the result against Anderson, people are starting to sit up and take notice of him now. In Congo, it's a different matter completely, you know. But I think that stadium holds something that, don't quote me on it, 70 or 80,000 people, maybe more. So I think that would be rammed.
Insane. Like I say,
they need to think of the safety aspect as well, you know. But so, and obviously the cost of the tickets, etc., which couldn't be as expensive as what they are in Europe.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. And I feel like Martin deserves it. He's lived away from home. He's fought all over the world in everybody else's backyard. And that brings me nicely to Jared Anderson, because he went to the States. He was the underdog against Jared Anderson. I know I saw your interview with Colin out in the States. You were emotional. Was the emotion almost like a vindication?
No, it wasn't. It wasn't. I was emotional because of the fight. As I phoned my wife, I FaceTime my wife, because she dropped me a message, a lovely message. So I FaceTimed her, and it means as much. It means a lot to my wife that he's won as well, because things that people fans don't see what my wife does for not me, and a lot for Martin and his family. So she's an instrumental part of our team. You know what I mean? So I was over the moon for her, and I did get a wee bit teary for her, not crying, but just a wee bit emotional. But it was because that was the reason why.
Yeah, and I know
'Cause
Rita.
I was happy. I was so happy for her. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. And if people, Rita, you won't see Rita, but she is one of the loveliest persons you'll ever meet on this planet. And but I suppose that I was going to ask, do you feel after that win, do you almost feel vindicated for all the interviews you've done in the past before that fight, and saying that Martin's the next best thing and Martin's going to be world champion, Martin's did this, and then people were almost laughing at you on Twitter and Instagram. But do you feel that almost that vindication now that you were right all along?
I knew I was right all along. It doesn't matter you knew my thoughts on it. I don't care what people think. I know a good boxer for a bad boxer.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? It's about the boxer, Andy. It's not about Billy Nelson, what Billy Nelson said, done, or what I've achieved. It's about the boxer. Billy Nelson's achieved nothing without that individual that he trains. So it's all down to the boxer. I'm over the moon for him. As I've sat down and spoke to him since, and 100% agrees, we've achieved nothing yet. We've won another international belt. Remember, we won an international belt against Kuzman a good few years ago. But this was done in such a big stage, the best boxing show ever staged in America, without a shadow of a doubt. And it'll bring Martin's career on leaps and bounds. So, it doesn't matter what people think. It really doesn't.
Obviously his stock has risen. If you just go on social media alone and the views on YouTube, and his stock has risen to the point where now people will want to fight Martin, or people will start setting up and be like, wow, he is the real deal. And a lot of people did say he was the real deal. And I've actually, not to blow my own trumpet, people were saying, Andrew, you said that Martin is going to be a world champion, and I've never seen him fight like that. It just seems almost effortless when Martin throws a punch. Does that make? I don't know what I'm trying. You know what I mean? It doesn't really put any grit into it when he punches.
No,
It seems quite.
it doesn't need it. This of course is the people on Twitter saying that he's got slow feet and he's got slow hands. Go and ask Jared Anderson if he's got slow hands and slow feet, because he was on top of him like a rash.
Mm-hmm.
And Anderson's a fine fighter. I sent Anderson a message on Monday, wishing him all the best in his career. That boy will win a world title. He's only a young man. In boxing terms, he's very, very young. He's still to develop his real man strength. He'll not get that as a heavyweight at 27, 28, 29. Got ample time. And I hope he goes back in his word and says that, when he says he's going to stop boxing at 27, because it'd be a waste of a God-given talent, because he is talented.
Definitely. I wholeheartedly agree with that, Billy. Martin is now ranked number 7 in the Ring magazines. Now, you can take that with whatever you want, right? But that is still, Ring magazine's going like performances. I know he's ranked with the WBA and whatnot, and that's probably the route he's definitely 100% going to go down. But that ranking,
Not necessarily,
no?
because he's just been put in at number, is it 4 in the IBF? But no, 4 I think it is in the IBF. But taking into consideration 1 and 2, no, I'm a liar. He's number 5, I think. But
Yeah, he's number 5. He's number 5. Yep.
Daniel's fighting AJ, so the loser will go out the top 5 or 6. Daniel or AJ will be number 1. I think it's Caballero will go to number 2 and Martin will go to number 3.
So would that be a Martin Caballero to get to that number 1 spot for that belt, or
for that particular belt? But he's already number 1 in the WBA. So they might call. I mean, I'm just. They might call Usyk or Fury to fight for the WBA. I don't think either would fancy fighting Martin to, purely on a commercial basis. Might relinquish the title. They might say, well, Manuel Char is the regular champion. He must fight Martin Bakole for the full title. That's just a scenario.
But the thing is, there's loads of scenarios now. Billy, you look at what
Well, there is.
you look at exactly. You look at what Riyadh Season and Turkey Al Sheikh has done with this heavyweight division right now. He shook it up. So Martin's got all these options now, and he's going to be sought after because he's one, he's entertaining. Two, he brings that knockout power, and like I say, his stock has risen up there. Now, when I was talking on my podcast and the people in the boxing world, people seem a lot excited when they talk about Zhang and Bakole because you've got two 6'6" monsters at 290 pounds. One's a southpaw, one's an orthodox, so the backhand's going to land at some point. Either one. It's that fight just seems to be just enormous. Not just because the men, but it's got that ingredients to make a perfect fight. Zhang and Bakole.
Zhang would be a great fight, but Frank's already indicating that he doesn't want the fight. He's looking for something else, possibly a rematch with Parker. But if we fight Zhang, Martin's faster. Martin's got a better IQ. Martin punches as hard as Zhang, but for longer. And he throws way, way, way more punches and better variety. Zhang's a good fighter, but don't get me wrong. I mean, he could put your lights out with one punch. But I think Martin's got a better chin than Zhang. He's most certainly got a better engine.
And for you though, Billy, as Martin's manager and coach and friend, I suppose, going into this, you want Martin to stay busy. All this gap, these 8 months, 9 months between fights, you're not wanting that. I'm guessing you want him to be out again this year.
He will be out again this year. He's already been told about it this year.
Good. And for you as the manager, as a coach, as a friend, of all these heavyweights we've discussed, who would you like Martin to face?
One of 7 people. Zhang, Parker, Caballero, AJ, Dubois, Usyk, Tyson. Obviously, you're not going to get the last 4. So, and I've got a rough idea of what is actually happening. And the only one, in my opinion, I'm so led to believe that hasn't got a fight yet is Zhang. So if Turkey Al Sheikh wants that fight, if Turkey wants that fight, His Excellency wants that fight, His Excellency will get that fight. Or any of the other names that I've mentioned.
I think if you ask any boxing fan on the street, if you gave them that list that you gave, like you said, the last 4 probably unachievable right now at this stage, but the Zhang fight, Caballero and whatnot, I think a lot of people will pick the Zhang fight just because of what the two men bring to the table in terms of excitement, size, punch variety, power. You're going to get a knockdown. You're going to get a knockout. Will it go 12 rounds? No chance. If it goes 12 rounds, the bookies will have that at 100-1, surely. There's no way the bookies will put that.
I think it'll be big prices for both guys to win in points, I'd imagine.
100%. 100%. I've got to ask though, Billy, whose idea was it back in LA to bring Michael Hunter in the ring post-fight? I seen that Michael Hunter. Was it Martin, was it?
Aye. Because Martin eventually wants that fight. But I think when we're the world champion, we'll fight him.
As a voluntary sort of defence for that world title.
Possibly, aye, because he's getting a, well, I don't know how he's achieved it, but he beat that big fat Mexican and managed to get back in the top 15. And then, who did he fight after that?
That guy in Russia, was it?
Cheney. No, that was an exhibition.
Right,
Then he beat Cheney, the guy that ran away from fighting Martin. Martin would have stopped Cheney in 3 rounds, 100%. He'd have smashed him to smithereens. But Hunter's a good fighter, but he's got himself into number 3 somehow. But he's got there anyway. So that'd be potentially if we win the world, or when we win the world title. I know he wants it. He wants to right the wrong. And Michael's come out and said, Michael's a brand new guy, by the way. He's a cracking guy.
Yeah.
But he's come out he's come out and says he's going to stop Martin quicker. Well, good luck with that one.
Well, listen, it's an exciting times for Martin. Like I say, he's still a young heavyweight. Let's be honest. Heavyweights can box up until they're 38. He's only 32, so he's relatively young. Not got many miles on the clock as well. So, but I do want to go on because I was at the gym this morning. You've got two fighters there that I'm excited about, and Luke Bibby, especially being a Scottish guy and a jock. When you've got young fighters coming through, it excites me to see these fighters and how good they are. I know Luke Bibby. I'm a fan of Luke Bibby. He's fighting again next week, and then he's got another fight on the 4th of October. He's progressing nicely. But the fighter, I think a lot of Scottish fans have been sort of wondering where he's going to make his debut is Sean Lazzarini, Commonwealth Games gold medalist. He's finally got that date after so many injuries and whatnot, problems outside of the ring in terms of injuries, like I said. But he's finally got his date. How excited are you for him to kickstart his career?
Can't wait, mate. He's, I'm not being funny when I say this, but I would gladly give Sean Lazzarini 6 fights and then challenge the boy. Is it Callum Simpson?
Callum Simpson for the super middleweight title, yeah.
He'd be ready for him in 6 fights. He punches that hard. Oh my goodness.
I'll ask you this. Pound for pound, because you've had Crocker, who's punches hard, Lazzarini, and Bakole. Pound for pound, who hits harder?
Crocker,
pound for pound.
fucking vicious. He's a bad man.
He's
a bad man.
Oh, there you go. Touch on Luke Bibby. Like I say, exciting young fighter. Silky smooth, fast hands, southpaw. Yeah, one I'm looking forward to. I said to Luke today, listen, I cannot wait to you get to that stage where you're fighting somebody with ambition that wants to come and take your head off. That's these journeymen and so on and so forth. But see, when you're fighting somebody with a little bit of ambition, I know that's when we're going to see the best Luke Bibby. And how far is he away from that, do you believe?
Well, I believe he's comfortably the best lightweight in Scotland, and that's with the fullest of respect to the boy that's Scottish champion and the Celtic champion, Regan
Glacken.
Regan Glacken, who's a good fighter, but he's had 16 gimmies on his record. You know what I mean? Even his last opponent, I think, at one stage lost 24 fights in a row, or 20 odd fights in a row. You know, Luke Bibby would beat him hands down. Next,
yeah, listen,
I would gladly fight the winner
of Glacken and
Boyd.
Boyd.
We wouldn't want the loser between. We'd fight the winner, Regan and wee Kyle. No problem. Next, no problem.
That's an
Luke's developed fantastically the last 9-10 months. And his willingness to learn, his professionalism inside and outside the ring is better than anybody that's turned over with me as a pro. He's fantastic. Joy to work with. His willingness to listen and learn and do what he's asked is just outstanding. But listen, I might have sounded a wee bit cheeky there with regards to Regan and Kyle Boyd. I wish both of them the very best of luck. And I know the fight with Luke wouldn't have happened. And I know that either or is going to fight for the British title, and I wish both the very, very best of luck in their fight and when they go on to fight for the British title. So best of luck, guys.
I agree. It's going to be an exciting fight. Both of them especially the way young Kyle fights and Regan fights. It's going to be exciting. And it's for a few titles as well, I believe, isn't it? It's the Celtic.
It's for the
IBO,
Celtic,
isn't it?
It might be for that IBO thing. And it's a final eliminator for the British
title, exactly. So there's a lot riding on this fight as well. So good luck to both of them. Billy, exciting things for your gym, man. It's a busy little gym. It's a hot gym, by the way. You got to turn that heating down at some point. Oh, I watched about 8 rounds of sparring. It looked like I'd done 8 rounds of sparring.
I've got some tomato plants in the cupboard.
It better be tomato plants. That's what I'm saying.
It's only tomato plants, honestly. Before I get raided again for no reason. But I've got some fantastic news to announce next week. That was agreed last night. Well, two bits of absolutely brilliant news. And and we'll announce it next week. So I'm absolutely thrilled, and so looking forward to the next good few years in boxing.
Listen, you deserve it, Billy. Despite what people think and say about Billy Nelson, I can wholeheartedly say you're one of the top guys.
But they same people haven't done what I've achieved, and it's called jealousy.
Mm-hmm. No, I mean,
And I know what.
I'm not talking about
I know-
boxing. No, I was talking about as a person.
But I know who they are because word gets back to you. You know, it's a small world. People forget boxing world's a very small world. So
Exactly. Billy, listen, you know where I'll be once this news is announced?
yep,
Right on the end,
100%.
right on the end of this phone. Right on the end of
No
this
bother.
phone.
No bother.
Billy,
I'm absolutely. I mean, you'll be amazed. You'll be amazed.
yeah, we're looking forward.
You'll be amazed.
No, I'm definitely looking forward to it. Like I said to you, I'll be right behind you for that interview when it's announced. You know that.
No problem, mate.
Listen,
No
Billy,
problem.
enjoy your evening. Say hi to Rita for me and the
Will
big
do.
bear that's probably hovering about somewhere. Big Murphy and Big Bailey. And I'll catch up with you soon, my man. Thanks, Billy.
Okay. Send my wishes to Luke.
I will do, mate. Thank you very much, man. Thank you.
All right, man. Cheers.
Wall Street Memes Casino
I'm fine.
and Sportsbook.